welcome back. I don't know if this is the first episode or the second episode, but we're continuing with the leftover rice. And for today's episode, we're doing fried rice balls. This is one of my favorite things to do with leftover rice because you can use it as an appetizer. It's an easy crowd pleaser because anything fried is going to be delicious. Okay, washing my hands now because I was playing with the kitty. And now we'll go ahead and get started on the fried rice balls. Again, today we're going to do a very simple one. We have leftover Mexican rice, and I'm going to put in the center some cheddar cheese. And that's really the only ingredients we need for this recipe. We're going to add an egg to help thicken it, and we're going to add a little bit of breadcrumbs as well. Okay, to start, we're going to mix whatever leftover rice we have with about an egg and a little sprinkle of breadcrumbs. It kind of depends on how moist or dry the rice ball is. You really don't want too much moisture in there because we are going to be frying it. So I'm going to take I'm not going to make too much today, maybe about a cup, it's probably a cup and a half or so of rice. I'll take my egg. I'm going to add just a few breadcrumbs to the rice mixture. This will kind of absorb some of the moisture. And I'm actually going to add a tiny sprinkle of flour. Just a little bit in there to because this is kind of moist rice. You don't necessarily always need the flour, and again, just a tiny bit because it's not going to cook that long. And now, we're ready to go ahead and form the balls. And while I've been preparing this, over here on the left, we've started heating a pot of oil. Oil takes a little while to heat up, so this has been heating up on medium for about 5 to 7 minutes. And right before we put them in, we're going to test it with a little bit of water to make sure the oil's hot enough. And that sound means it's ready. So when we form our rice balls, we're going to take the remaining breadcrumbs, and I'm going to just dump them into that bowl there so they're ready for us. And I'm going to put some cheese in the middle. And again, you can put in, if you have leftover cheese is really nice for these, but if you have leftover mushrooms, again, it really doesn't matter. Something in the middle is kind of nice, but you also don't have to put anything in. You could just do a plain rice ball as well. So the easiest method, I'm going to dip my hands in water to get them wet. And then I'm going to take the rice, which has now been mixed with the egg and the flour, and I'll get a little patty just like that. I'm going to take one of the pieces of cheese, and since my hands are wet, the rice isn't sticking, I just kind of roll it. And once it's shaped into a ball, I'm going to roll it in the breadcrumbs, and right there. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and get started with the fried rice balls. Make sure you're safe. The most important thing as well, you can always have your fire extinguisher on if you've never used hot oil before. But the most important thing is really to not be afraid of the oil. Your inclination is always to be really far away and drop it in, and that's going to cause the oil to splash. So you just have to don't touch it, obviously, get really close, and then you can drop it in that way. And then this way it's not going to splatter when we put it in. Okay, these have been in for about 3 minutes now. I'm going to leave them in for one more minute. You can see they're really starting to brown nicely. And I think one of them, the cheese is starting to come out. So I'm going to wait another minute. I just want it to be really nice and crisp on the outside. And then we're going to take them out and put them on the towel. And now the best part, and we get to go ahead and open it. You can see that melted cheese coming out. Delicious. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Fried rice balls are one of my favorite ways to use leftover rice, particularly for like a movie night, make a little appetizer. And again, remember, it's any rice you have left over. You add the egg and maybe a little bit of breadcrumbs and/or flour, depending on how moist it is, and whatever seasoning you want. And remember to just form it into a ball. You wet your hands first, and then coat it with the breadcrumbs into the hot oil for a few minutes and then it'll be done. So I hope you try it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know how it comes out. Who's my little kitty? Who's my little kitty?